Hello, my amazing 5th grade artists. Today we're going to be starting this new project. We're going to be creating these Earth Day Zentangles. So we're going to talk a little bit about Earth Day, a little bit about Zentangles, and combine them into one art project. So Earth Day is a day that we celebrate every year. This year it's going to be on April 22nd, so it's going to be coming up. And it's a day where we promote awareness about our planet so that we can take care of our planet, so that we can leave it in good shape for generations to come. We have a wonderful planet. We're so blessed, and we want to take good care of it. And then Zentangles are these beautiful creations in black and white usually that artists do using lots of different kinds of pattern. Zentangle is actually an American method of drawing created by a man named Rick Roberts and an artist named Maria Thomas. And so they wanted a way to create art where you could just really relax and not have lots of stress on your mind and just do this kind of art where you don't have to think a lot about it. It's supposed to be mainly about relaxing. And so I want you to try to do that as you're creating these. These are some examples. And before starting this, your teachers have a YouTube video called Zentangle Patterns for Kids that I'd like you to show them, because it's going to get the kids kind of seeing different patterns and thinking about different patterns, because they're going to have a lot to do here. So you can do that, and you can also find some Zentangle example pages online and just leave them up on your TV or projector, and the kids can look at those for ideas. But this is an example of a Zentangle art, sort of similar to what we're doing. Let me move these out of the way because that's a lot to look at. And it kind of creates an optical illusion, but every one of these spaces or shapes has a different pattern in them. Look at all the different patterns they've created. Teachers, you might want to leave this up and give them some ideas, but students, I want you coming up with your own patterns and designs. The only rule I have is no writing. These are just shapes and lines that we're creating. We're not writing words in there, so remember that. If you write words, it won't get put on Artsonia, okay? All right, to begin with, we're going to create our middle part. We're talking about Earth Day, so we're either going to do an earth or a sun, because the sun is very, very much related to things that happen here on Earth, right? So you decide if you want a sun, that will be using warm colors, or if you want an earth, using more of your cool colors, okay? So what you're going to do, we're going to do a technique called wet on wet with our watercolor. Everybody's going to get an 8 by 8 inch sheet of watercolor paper, so it doesn't matter which way you turn it, it's a square. Put your label on the back, your name label. Decide which one you're going to use, if you're going to use warm or cool colors. And then I'm going to, teachers, I want you to have the colors again, just like you do with 4th grade, in one of these with a little water diluted in it to dilute the watercolors. And then students, you're just going to go in and use your brush and paint some water on here. This is wet on wet, so it needs to have water, and it needs to stay wet while you're adding your watercolor. I'm going to do a cool one. So I'm going to go in and dip my brush in some green, and I'm just going to kind of put that around in different places. I'm going to wash my brush out. And then I'm going to get some blue. And what will happen is those will start to blend together. And it kind of looks like the earth from a distance. You can add a little water and get that going. But try to stay within your circle, okay? Because those are going to be the center part. They will need to dry. So teachers, help the students move them or leave them sitting where they are so they can dry without running a lot. You don't want them to run too much, okay? So I'm just going to kind of move mine. Teachers, you may really want to help the students do that. Move it over out of the way. And then this is one that has dried. So on that one, I did a sun. You see, I used my warm colors. So it's good and dry. And you're going to get to use 2 different size Sharpies, okay? So we're going to start with our thicker Sharpie, and you are going to outline your sun and try to get all of that little part where it might have ran, kind of close that in. And you can actually go around it more than once if you need to make your black line thicker. It'll look good like that. paper is going to be a little bit warped. That's okay. That's what happens when you use watercolors. And I'm going to go around it one more time and kind of thicken up my line. Turn your paper as you go, guys. That makes drawing a lot easier if you'll turn your paper as you go instead of trying to turn your hand into some weird, wonky position. Just turn your paper. So see how I've thickened my line up. Try to keep them neat. That's very important in Zentangle. If they're sloppy, it's not going to look good. Now we're just going to go in and we're going to make some wavy lines that radiate out from our sun or our earth, whatever you did. I like to start in the corner. It's a little easier. So I'm going to make a gentle curving line. It's not super duper curvy. And then I'm going to put maybe 2 fingers and do another one. And they just kind of radiate around. They don't all need to look the same either. Look, I'm turning my paper again. Some can be a little bigger, some can be a little smaller. That's okay. Try to make them generally around the same size, but if they're not exactly the same, it's fine. And then one more here should do it. So you'll divide it up into these shapes. All right, now comes the time to add your Zentangles. Teachers, you might want to put some soft music on the background. This is the part where the kids get really quiet and focused on what they're doing, and this is supposed to be the really relaxing part. Go right in with your fine tip Sharpie, the smaller one. You don't have to draw this out with pencil first. That would take forever. So if you make a mistake, just turn it into something else. These are just lines and shapes. So like on this one, I may just go in making some circles that I'll come back and color some of them later. You're just filling every space with a different pattern. It'll be important, teachers, that you put something up as a guide for the kids, though. You can put the one that I showed you. You can find some online. They're going to need lots of ideas. That's really the hardest part I find about doing Zentangles is coming up with ideas. But if you look online, there are tons and tons of Zentangle patterns. You just have to search for that, and you can find pages and pages that you could just put up on your projector for the kids to look at. So then I've got that, and I may want to come in now with my thicker Sharpie and color some of those in. Maybe not all of them, but just some of them. Just the key is keeping it looking very neat. Your lines and edges very neat and nice, okay? So you're just going to basically go all the way around. Let me show you the ones that I have again. You could also put these up for some examples of different patterns that you can do. So you're just going to go all the way around using a combination of your fine tip and your ultra fine tip Sharpies because it'll give variety. That's a good thing to have in art. You don't want everything looking exactly the same. So having some lines that are thick and some that are thin, some shapes that are colored in, some that aren't colored in, that will give you your variety. So I cannot wait to see what you come up with. I think these are going to look really beautiful, and your teacher will send some back to me for Artsonia. Follow your directions so I can put them on Artsonia, and I'll see you next time. Bye.